guys, let's talk real quick about some irregular verbs. So verbs are action words, like things you do, right? But sometimes we got a couple of verbs that don't always follow the rules. We kind of use them a little bit differently. So today in your fat book, you're going to practice some of them. The first verbs that we're going to look at are the verbs have, has, and had. So that's an action to have something, but it doesn't follow the rules. So let's look at it. If I'm talking about right now, if I'm talking about I say, I have cousins. And if I'm talking about they, like those two people over there, oh, they have cousins. And if I'm talking about a whole bunch of us, like you guys and me, I could say, we have cousins. So if we're talking about right now, if I'm talking about myself, or if I'm talking about Ethan and Yuchen, I would say Ethan and Yuchen have cousins, or they have cousins. If I'm talking about a group of people, I say we have. But if you're talking about one person, like she, or he, or Ellen, or Logan, you would say she has cousins. Logan has cousins. Ellen has cousins. So kind of a little rule breaker, works a little bit differently. Now when we try and say kind of that same thing about having something, but in the past tense, like a while ago, then we always use had. And it's kind of easier in the past tense because it doesn't matter who you're talking about, it's always had. I had fun, they had fun, we had fun, she had fun. If I say Liam and Kevin, Liam and Kevin had fun. I could say Jessica had fun, right? In the past tense, it's always had. Some other irregular verbs are the words do, does, and did. They all mean the same thing, right? Like you do something, but we kind of use them differently. So you'll notice the same kind of pattern as with have, has, and had. If I'm talking about I, or they, or we use the same thing, do. But if I'm talking about one person, that's not me, I say does. So I do work. They do work, right? I could say Miss Grum and Mrs. Grum do work. We do work. But if I'm talking about one person, I would say he does work, she does work, right? I could say Jamie does work, Jaden does work. I say does. But just like have, has, and had, in the past tense, it's all the same. If we're talking about a long time ago, doesn't matter what you're talking about. If you're talking about I or they or we or she, it's always did. I did work, they did work, we did work, she did work, all right? So you have a couple of pages to do in your fat book, and they have a little reminder up at the top of the page to help you, and hopefully this helped too.